All right, we're good to
Yeah.
go.
Welcome to this month's Nebraska, Iowa MUFON meeting. MUFON is all about the scientific study of UFOs for the benefit of humanity. As the world's oldest and largest UFO phenomena investigative body, we aim to be the inquisitive minds seeking answers to the most ancient question, are we alone in the universe? Here's just a couple of something to get us started here. You get the 1947 classroom of aliens and the 2025 classroom. The Nebraska team is Kyle Finley, state director, field investigator. Fred Ziwi's assistant state director, ERT representative, and field investigator. You have Tamara Steyer, she's chief investigator and field investigator. John Barta is field investigator. Dave Paris and Dr. Jack Casher are both consultants.
We're gonna have Dimitri soon as a new trainee,
Okay, Dimitri and all right.
Blackwell, Blackwell.
Okay. All right, thanks. The Iowa MUFON team is myself, Greg Anderson. I'm state director, field investigator, star team member. Dave Kreider's chief investigator, field investigator, and star team member, and Beverly Moore, field investigator. Our team is kind of dwindled down to the three of us, so hopefully we
Mm,
get a lot of cases, but hopefully, we don't get overrun.
yeah.
So far this year, Iowa's had 25 cases and Nebraska's had 12. So at least we're not as low as in 2021 in Iowa, and Nebraska's got to come up a little bit. The last couple of months, Iowa and Nebraska's had August, we both had one, and September, we both had two submissions. Here's the attendance figures. Looks like last month we had 20 people attend. It's kind of
Yeah.
about average, I guess.
Yeah, about 13 online and then like seven in person about.
Yeah.
And in July we didn't have anybody, so I added that on there.
All right. This was the statistics. Iowa was ranked 28th. We're both at 100%, and Nebraska was 41st. And here's some statistics that came out in the uh, MUFON Journal. It was January of 2025 through July of 2025, and the U.S. events and unknowns. And you can see, like in July, there was you have 240 events, 19 unknowns, and you go back and let's see, 53 unknowns and 58 in January. But they had a lot more cases in January, so that might explain that number. This was all part of the in the journal, this latest journal that came out. So if you're interested in these things, you want to make sure you get membership to MUFON and get the journal. The percentage of selected UFO shapes of all MUFON CMS US unknown cases, and of the 250 unknowns, it looks like maybe a spherical is the top one. Circle, which is essentially spherical, is right up there. And then you've got cigars in cylinder shape and star-like, and then the others.
Now when they submit, can they only have one shape or can they have multiple? Like, I feel like you can have multiple in there, right?
Multiple states?
The for the shapes, I feel like can't they
Oh
put
shit.
like star-like and like a circle?
I don't remember if you can click more than one or not on that one case.
Oh, okay.
This is the percentage of selected UFO shapes for all MUFON CMS cases. And then you've got, like, again, you got circles and spheres up here at the top, unknown cases. So, MUFON News. Dave McDonald's executive director. His title of his and theme was September Song, and it says, "As September arrives, we find ourselves standing at the threshold of change. The air begins to cool, the days subtly shorten, and nature reminds us that transformation is not only inevitable, it's beautiful. After over a year of planning, it's over, or is it? In most cases, a wave of melancholy flows through the convention center as the crowd dwindles and signs are being removed and tables folded, chairs stacked, and the final promises to stay in touch exchange. However, this time, at least in this case, it was just exhaustion. Wow, what a symposium! Great speakers, great food, great venue, and above all, great members. The visit to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base was a tremendous hit. They even have a flying saucer on display. It's one of ours, but what the heck? Once again, it had video presentations given by several congressional leaders verifying the effectiveness of MUFON's spearheading the movements toward disclosure. I could go on this, but this will suffice is to say that 2025 MUFON International Symposium went as smoothly as anyone could ask for. We've already started working on the 2026 symposium, which again will be held at the same location. The entire convention bureau team and the Marriott people went above and beyond expectation to ensure that fun and enjoyable stay. They even printed drink lists and menus that boasted a UFO theme. What's more, that can ask, next year we might offer some brand new twists to the symposium. For example, we were considering an evening riverboat cruise, which would be the first for a MUFON symposium. What glitches occurred were quickly handled by the convention center staff, which together with the hotel and the convention bureau helped make the symposium one to remember. Furthermore, as I spoke with our members, it was clear that when I came to belonging to MUFON, they shared a powerful sense of pride, enthusiasm, and bright vision for the future. MUFON wins again. Investigator case review. Not many cases to report this month, but let's go along with this one. Uh, Case 143857, I handled it. It was from Davenport, Iowa. It was on August 25th. The witness, along with his wife, saw and took two pictures of a craft moving westerly. The witness thought the craft was flying faster than a normal jet, and this has prompted him to take the pictures. And said on this 25th, they said they saw a near the Machine Shed restaurant, a silver disc UFO was flying east towards the west, towards Muscatine. No sound, no zooming across the sky. This was pictures that they took. The witness validated that the information on Form 1 was correct and that they were on the north side of the Machine Shed restaurant with his wife, and he thought the object was moving faster, like it's in the movie an aircraft, and took two pictures he attached. He said that it was northwest towards Interstate 80. He also said that there were two other aircraft in the area heading west to east towards Muscatine, Iowa, and not sure of the other directions. He validated the direction in which he took the photo as being to the northwest. I was able to find the correct time of 1301 on his EXIF files. He initially reported on his report, he reported about a time of 1240. I told him that, and he said that was probably correct. And using the correct time, I was able to use flight radar and find that the Delta Airlines flight DAL 813 was flying in a westerly direction at 30,000 feet, from which site the craft would have disappeared toward Interstate 80, as he reported. The witness stated that there were two other aircraft at the time, one flying easterly and other one he was not sure of. Using flight radar, I was able to see American Eagle Flight JIA 5082 flying in an easterly direction at 32,000 feet, and Khalida Air Flight CKS 614 flying northwest at 29,950 feet. I have seen several pictures of aircraft flying around 25 to 30,000 feet and seem to be just a white cylinder. I'm calling this a man-made object. It was an IFO, and it was at that airplane. It was that Delta Airlines flight. And here's the again shows the Delta Airlines flight flying there and the two other flights that were in the area that he saw. Next one. The witness was out watching, sky watching from southeast Central City, Iowa on 9/11/2025 at 2018 and noticed a light in the sky and started to video. As the video progresses, an object seems to fall from right behind the object, after which there were other points of light moving in different direction, which the witness did not video. The witness detail essentially had a pretty short detail. He said it dropped off something, then there was a lot of activity in all directions. And during the interview, he said I had a fairly lengthy conversation with him, and he reported that he often goes out and records the sky while sky watching. This time he saw a light moving across the northwest sky and started to video it. About 1.5 minutes into the video, an object drops from right behind the object downward for about 2 seconds. He stops videoing at the time and right after pinpoints of light appeared and moved in different directions. He told me he held the camera as steady as he possibly could, and he was behind a barn so that he didn't get any light interference. He wanted to hold the camera in one direction so the plane coming from left to right would come into frame with the object, which was traveling right to left. He told me about another incident in which he saw with his family about 1 month prior that looked like the moon behind a cloud. And I've got a video. Here's his video that he submitted. Here's the object coming into back and forth. He kind of steadies out here in a bit. It'll stay like this for about a minute, and then from the left you should start. He kind of pans over to catch a plane that's actually starting to come into view. That was the plane that he went over and saw. And if you watch, okay, I guess it's about half a minute. If you watch right behind it, there's going to be something that looks like it falls from the pretty much same area. There it goes.
The neat one.
Of course, my first thought was like it was a coincidence since it looked like it was behind it. And I thought it was just a meteor that just happened to be in the same spot. But I did some photo analysis and I've changed my mind.
Greg,
Yes.
could you play just the first minute of? I thought I saw something else coming down across the screen. Just the
Well,
first
there
minute
was
of that
something up
video.
up in this area.
Yeah, I thought it was just a street. I saw kind of a streak coming down,
Oh,
not the plane. I'm not talking about the plane.
all right. That's kind of the end of that. So if we go back to, you want the first,
Just the
how
first minute,
okay, how
if
far into
that.
it?
That. Oh,
that
okay.
was the object, just him moving the camera up and down.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. That's what I saw. Never mind. Thanks.
And search of flight radar 24 showed the plane in the area as a UAL 1225 flying from west southwest to east northeast. Stellarium Web showed Starlink satellites, but none went in the same direction. And the later points of light he saw going in different directions may have been Starlink, but he didn't video any of that. They don't necessarily have to be following each other. You can look in the sky and sometimes go in different directions. At first sight, I thought the object that was dropping from the sky was a meteor, but later photo analysis showed that it may have come from the object. Photo analysis also showed the object was surrounded by an aura and it seemed to be leaving a trail. The object seemed to be spherical, and I'm going to call this a UAV unknown. But here's kind of, it's maybe a little hard to see, but here's one of the frames that show the object. This isn't where it first appears, but you can kind of see the object, and there's kind of like an aura. And if you look back, there's a path behind it, like a path. Then this one, it just an inverted version of it, and there's still a path that you can see behind it. And this is the object that was falling. And if you look at it, it's kind of got like a Y shape to it. And let's go back down here. And if you look when that picture I took before was when it was almost done flying, when it was down further. And if you look at this one down here, uh, first of all, it starts right in the middle of that aura, like it something like it came up. This brighter light up here is kind of at the same is in the same spot. Then the next frame it's dropping like this, and then the third frame, you can still see kind of a Y shape on it. It's not like it's spherical. It's like I don't know it, but it's still got that path that it's leaving, the main object. I have no idea what it was. It was just something that came out during the photo analysis.
What
Any
what did you use to get these enlargements like this? What
Well,
kind
I
of
used two different programs. I used a program called Forvid, Forevid, which lets me go frame at a time and kind of bring up an area, different frames so I can see what's going on. Then what I do is, and something I just learned recently is I'll cut and paste a small area around the object. Like let's say this one in the middle, I would cut and paste this part. Then I would insert it into a PowerPoint slide, and then using a format photo or the part, if you right click on the selection and you do format, you can go in and it's got a you can change the contrast and brightness and stuff like that. And then so I
Mhm.
enlarge it to the frame, and then I use to change the contrast and the brightness, and that's how I got that.
Okay.
And I did that a little bit too. And there's another object later that I did that on. So, any other questions? Here's this is a picture just of the Delta Airlines or the airline flight that was flying along there, the United Airlines. So, all right. And then remember I said the witness had said that he about or maybe I didn't say a month ago. He about a month prior he said that he witnessed something that looked like a moon behind the clouds. And I was looking at in a it well I won't mention the name of the UFO site, but I found a something that happened in Marion, Iowa. Marion is just just to the south of Central City. and it happened about a month prior to the incident, and it was a bright object with looked like kind of a cloud and mist on both sides. And the amazing thing on the even though it said Marion, Iowa on the site, on the photo that on the little map that they showed, the map insert, the map insert showed the dot over Central City. So I thought that was kind of a coincidence, but maybe he saw this. It was something he saw, maybe not. All right. Kyle, did you want to talk about your case then? And then just let me know when to change.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be pretty straightforward here. So the description for this one, this was on what do we have here? May 15th. Um, or it should be July 15th, I guess. It said I was driving home July 15th, 2023, and was bothered by an excessively intense light from the sun. I stopped my vehicle, grabbed my smartphone, and begin to video for 27 seconds in the direction of the sun, which I could not even gaze at. I leaned against my car and held the phone pointing approximately at the sun. I stayed still, waiting, hoping that the video would show me something. Only when I played back the video did I observe that there was some kind of craft revealed in the pic, which seemed to have legs upon magnification. So you can go ahead and go to the next one. Looks like this is the video.
Yeah.
So you see some birds and a lens flare there, but what we're looking at is close to the sun. Little blob that's out there.
It's got to be the sun. It's sure looking strange.
All right.
Does
Want
anybody
to show
want
it
to see
again?
it? Does anybody want to see it a second time or?
I'll
Oh,
show
like,
it.
yeah, okay. No, we can do it one more time.
It's got to be the sun. It's sure looking strange.
All right.
All right. Yeah. And so, yeah, when you zoom up, Greg's got that on there. You see a little cloud. Now well, I'm thinking it's a cloud. The little blob with multiple lines coming out of it, and it kind of changes shapes if you can zoom up and watch it on the video as it's moving from the sun, kind of away from the sun there. Um, I talked to Dave about this quite a bit since he's been, meteorologist 30 plus years, always looking at this kind of stuff. And he doesn't really, he said he didn't think it was a cloud when I was showing it to him.
Yeah. Did
And what are you saying?
I was going to say I've got that another slide that I added.
Yeah, you can go to the next one if there's another one. Yeah. And we looked at this too together. We were on it for like a couple hours looking at these different clouds. So you have the overcast clouds in the background, and then you have these frontal clouds that are dark in nature, kind of showing kind of the left and little one up there to the right. And so then the cloud, or yeah, those are definitely clouds. You have frontal clouds, background clouds, and then the thing by the sun there, it's kind of coming out. And so yeah, Dave, what he said we could do is you go to the weather data, you can get the different cloud heights, what they reported at the time. And at the nearest few airports we looked at, they didn't even have overcast. They had scattered clouds. So they didn't have anything like what he was showing here. And so then Dave thought maybe we got the wrong date. Maybe he had the wrong date reported and we're not getting the right, different levels of clouds or something like that. But that if for the unknown object, that would give us, the height. If we had the background clouds and the front round clouds, we can get a range in there of where exactly this object would be at. Um, But yeah, so I'm kind of feeling it's inconclusive without more data. I wasn't able to get a hold of the witness, sent, text, phone call, email, but yeah, I haven't got anything back yet. But yeah, I mean, for me, it'd be interesting to see, the witness didn't see the object, before taking the video, so. But I'd like to know if the object just disappeared. Did it gradually disperse? What happened to it, as it left view? I also like to see, how did it come into view? If it's just, moving around like a cloud, then I would conclude it's a cloud. But if it did something odd, then I would say, it's something else. But yeah, I just decided to do insufficient information because without being able to nail down, maybe we got the wrong date, so we can't even do the cloud height on this one. But it's interesting, especially, having Dave say, he studied clouds more than my entire life. So if he says he doesn't think it's a cloud, then, that leads to suspicion on my behalf. Any other questions?
All right. All
Another
right.
thing the witness talked about is how bright the sun was in this, and that's something I've also experienced on these overcast days. Sometimes the seems to hit the clouds and it kind of like lights up like everything real bright. And I'm not really sure what the phenomenon's called, but that's something I've noticed before. But that's what drew his attention to this. And I think when we were tracing his path, it seems like he was driving one way on the road and then he pulled over and then he's facing the opposite direction when he was taking the video. So it was something that caught his interest for sure. And then for doing the cloud height, I can't remember if we did Weather Underground before, but whatever site we were using before, it was now behind a paywall, so we can't get to it. So we had to go through a whole bunch of, trying to find different sites and stuff to get the cloud heights from the airports. And we finally found one, but um, yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. So I was hoping Dave was going to be here. I can get it from him, but yeah, I'll bring that up at the next meeting if I get that site name. They're real useful in cases like this. And then the next thing, you can go to the next slide. This is another site, the Sonder Hub, that Dave showed me when we were looking at this stuff. It shows weather balloons and things that people send off from, like universities or labs or whatever. But I feel like this shows more stuff that weather radar might not show because or not weather radar,
Flight radar.
Flight Radar 24, it'll show the Google balloons, Google loons and stuff, but I'm pretty sure this one shows other balloons that aren't on there. So the non-loon, the, weather ones, these go up and down, and you can look, I think, all around the world on this website to show active things. And I believe you can go back in time on this as well, but I haven't used it too much. But I just thought I'd bring it up. There's this one, the cloud data website that I gotta get yet. And then Dave also has some software where you can look at 3D images of clouds. So if there's like a thunderstorm or something, it'll give you like a 3D picture of what they look like. And so that was pretty cool too. We'll bring that up probably maybe next meeting.
Right.
That's all I got on that.
Well, this one down right down here that's in Arizona
Yeah.
is a tethered. I've been watching it recently on Flight Radar. Is a tethered balloon, and it's tethered at about 11,000 feet, and it's radar they're using for interdiction and and traffic that along the border, the southern border. That's the first
Oh,
time I'd seen one. It was always in the same spot, and it got me wondering. I clicked on it and saw that it said tethered on it. So it was that was first time I'd seen one like that.
yeah. Yeah, I got this right before the meeting, so yeah, some of them line up, so.
Yeah, and then I know there were some other Raven Aerostar ones over here in the New Mexico area. In that area, sometimes they're flying over like forest fires in certain areas where they're checking those out to see where the different the fires are. So anyway,
Yeah.
you really can't tell what they're their mission is, unless you kind of have to infer the what's going on. So, all right. UFO UAP news highlights. This was just recently. They had the congressional hearing in on September 9th at the House Oversight Committee Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets, and it was at the Capitol Visitor Center. That seems to be the spot that they have all of their hearings. The purpose of the hearing was to examine federal transparency on UAPs, strengthen whistleblower protections, ensure accountability in UAP-related programs and records. It's chaired by Representative Anna Paulina Luna, a Republican from Florida. And right off the bat, I thought it was interesting. She called Sean Kirkpatrick, a former head of Arrow, a liar. And I thought that was pretty bold. But the witnesses that they had were Jeffrey Nusatelli. He's a U.S. Air Force veteran. Chief Alejandro Wiggins is a Navy senior chief and UAP witness. Dylan Borland was a U.S. Air Force veteran and UAP witness. And you had George Knapp, a journalist. Most of you know who George Knapp is, I'm sure.
Hopefully.
Representative Eric Burleson, Republican of Missouri, revealed a never before seen MQ-9 Reaper video. And in October of 24, off Yemen, a Hellfire missile appears to strike a glowing orb, and the orb seems unaffected, raising questions about UAP capabilities. And that was kind of like the moment. It was toward the end of the thing. It was kind of an interesting video, and not a little more to say on that. It described the incidents with a large craft. New Satellite described incidents with large craft, secrecy, and retaliation issues. Wiggins and Borland reported encounters near military facilities, and the criticism Aero office for downplaying reports. Again, I kind of highlighted that because there was a couple of few times when they kind of disparaged what Aero was doing. Push for the greater government transparencies on UAPs was a takeaway to protect whistleblowers reporting UAP incidents and possible legislative action on record access and oversight. And that was kind of like uh, where I saw it. I didn't think there was a whole lot that came out of this. This was just I evidently don't have the video in here that I had, but this was the right after. This is supposed to be the Hellfire missile here. It came in at an angle, kind of swerved a little, hit the object. Three little objects fell off of the object, and then the Hellfire missile continued on. It didn't detonate when it hit. The three little objects, when you look at them closely, they're all exactly the same shape, kind of a blunted T shape, and um, and it does, and the main object keeps on flying along. Now, they've done some analysis on this, and a lot of people are saying that it was a balloon, but in it, I don't know, it may have been, but the thing that bothers me is it was just south of Yemen, and I don't know, you know, I don't necessarily know what kind of balloon it would have been and why it would, three little balloons with the same shape would have come off of it after it hit. So it probably didn't detonate because it was light enough or something that didn't the proximity it didn't go off. I'm just not sure. But anybody else heard anything else about that? Oh, all right.
I still need to see the video. Everybody's been talking like, "Oh, you haven't seen the video yet?" I'm like, You know,
Well, I
my
had the
input on
video
it.
on there, I thought, but evidently
Yeah,
it's
I
not.
figured you had the video on here. I was gonna watch it, with everybody else. But
Yeah.
yeah, I know Dave's talked about it quite a bit too.
It it comes flying in from this direction. Kind of swerves at the very last minute, does a correction on the object, the Hellfire missile. Then it continues on. These three little objects pop off the rear end of it, and they keep going this way, and Hellfire keeps going that way. And then while the object keeps going this direction, there's something else in the video that comes up that looks like it's kind of a rectangular, dark rectangle shape that goes that it fly they fly over, so it goes up this way on the frame. Nobody's explained what that object was. It was kind of looked like a rectangle with white rails on both sides, the long sides. Uh, that's all I did. That it might. Who knows what it was?
Yeah, my only input since we're working on the Space War project here. One thing we don't know is if you have a craft that has a warp field around it and you run into something, we don't know what's going to happen. Do you just go through the object? Does the object go around you? Because that's if you're going in, deep space and you don't know where planets are, there's the chance you might just run into one. So you have to kind of either have a really good mapping system or something to avoid them all, or maybe the space warp bubble somehow lets it slide around you.
Right.
And another thing is Larry Lemke, who came down to visit our project. He had a UFO experience, and he was studying the materials out at Big Lake and published that paper and everything. When he saw a UFO, he said there was a light behind it. I'm not sure if it was the sun or the moon or something, but he said that it kind of flowed around it like, like a cloaking field or something. He wasn't for sure at the time, but over the years, he kind of figured that it was like some kind of gravitational lensing around the craft so that, the light behind the craft kind of appears in front of the craft. And so if any of that has anything to do with, this, maybe the missile went to it and then the warp field just bounces it right through the craft, since space has been warped around it. So that's a possibility.
Right.
Very theoretical, but that's my input.
All right. Well, I can run out of things to talk about here. As far as anyway, I thought I'd include this since it was a September one, and uh, I'm not going to talk. There were a couple incidents that happened in Iowa and stuff at that time. Anyway, I called this uh, 2 days in September, and let me get the let's get what I got here out of the way. And okay, this in September of 2015. This was it's been a while, but and I was at this symposium, MUFON symposium in Irvine, California, when two events took place, one in Irvine and the other back in Britt, Iowa. The Britt, Iowa one was there were several triangles noticed up in Britt during the time of the full blood moon eclipse, and there was several witnesses in that. Um, but we've talked about that quite a bit, so I'm gonna go and continue with just the other things that happened during those 2 days. Okay, let's start with September 26, 2015 in Irvine. And I would like to read a passage from Forbidden Knowledge, a personal journal from alien abduction to spiritual transformation by Kathleen Marden. She said, I retire as early as possible because my team members and I are offering a workshop for experiencers at 7:30 a.m. and I want to get adequate sleep to be in tip-top condition the following morning. I'm startled to wakefulness in the night when I bounce on my bed as if I'd been dropped from above. I open my eyes and discover a deep neon blue light several feet in the distance and appears to have rounded form and I can feel intelligent energy emanating from it. It slowly recedes, and I hear a familiar voice that should not have been in my hotel room, Craig Lang. The assistant director of MUFON's ERT says, I'll just quickly let myself out. Craig is an ET experiencer and a hypnosis practitioner. The following day, he asks what floor my room is on, but thereafter he retains no conscious memory of being delivered to the wrong room. Two additional people come to me with memories of being taken in a group abduction. One man is trembling and in cold sweats. I do energy work to balance his aura, and it seems to calm him down. Nuts and bolts researchers are watching from across the room and seem to think that something crazy is happening. I find it amusing when one approaches me to ask what on earth I'm doing. The frightened experiencer shows me a new puncture wound above his Achilles tendon and informs me that he's been healed from a pre-existing condition. I told him to take photos and to find an investigator with an ultraviolet light to check fluorescence. Craig Lang does this for him and documents the fluorescent evidence. I meet a lifetime experiencer who's attending the MUFON symposium for the first time. She informs me of her specific memories of being taken to a craft with a group of men and women the previous night. She's seen me on the craft, but informs me that I was out of it. She tells me that the ETs were busy extracting information from our minds and collecting samples. She says that several MUFON members were taken. Another MUFON member was photographed a perfect V-shaped cloud in shape of the triangular craft. Months later, I undergo hypnosis, but remember nothing beyond my conscious recall. This failure to remember makes sense to me because I've asked the ETs not to wake me when they must take my physical body, and I must uh, have restorative sleep. And she ends her narrative there. Going back to the fluorescent evidence on there, I've had in 2017, I had a time when I woke up and I had a kind of a triangular mark with bruises around it on my stomach. And at the time, I didn't think UFO or anything like that. I just thought it was some weird mark. And the more I thought about it, I thought, well, it might have been something that had to do with that. But I never thought to do the fluorescent evidence test at that time. And then this other one, where another member photographed a perfect tight V-shaped cloud in the shape of a triangular craft. One of the other things I'm going to talk about here is a photo and stuff that I took. Okay, I personally did not hear of this at the time, but 2 years later in 2017 at the symposium in Las Vegas, my recollection of what took place was an abduction from a get-together of some of the participants, and some of the participants had a conscious recall of the event. And I remember that one of the participants was a former executive director for MUFON, Jan Harzan. When I got home, I recalled that I had taken some photos of the parking lot in the north of the hotel the evening of September 26th. This was after I got home from the 2017 convention when I heard about it. And I took the photos. I took the photos because it was foggy and the parking lots were glowing in the fog. To my surprise, I found that the photos that I remember taking and seeing later in Google Photos were missing, and that a 10-second video of another MUFON case was there on that date instead. Up to this point, and since I don't recall ever having any MUFON related photos related to Google ever go into Google Photos, not only that, but the date and time stamp on the video did not match the date on the Google Photos. Compare this to Witness B and the Brit case of triangles and stuff, who uses his phone every day, showed how all the information on his phone had previously disappeared for the day after the event. And you can see here that I have the date of 9/27 on here at 15. It would have been 15 12 Pacific Daylight Time, uh, when that was created. And then you look at what's in Google, which I had, where my photos were at from the Saturday night that I took them, says September 26th. So it's like two different, these dates are both the 27th. So there was a a video that was put in there that was a day after the actual date that was in Google Photos. And that
Hmm.
it seems bizarre to me. And I don't know why the pictures would have been taken out. I mean, it was just lights in the fog. Maybe there was something in the background there that I didn't see, but somebody else did. Anyway, the next day was the blood moon eclipse, and the that evening was and I watched this at the hotel in Irvine with Paul Hellyer, the former Minister of Defense, and his wife. And little did I know that events were taking place in Iowa. That would be one of the biggest cases we have had than the Brit case. So anyway,
So if I heard you right, you said there's photos that got deleted or didn't get uploaded or something?
no, they originally got uploaded to Google Photos. They were sitting there in the September 26, 2015, with that date. There were
Mm.
two photos. And I remember seeing them several times. And then when I got back from the conference, after I heard about what had gone on during that conference, I thought, well, wait a minute, I got some pictures that I took. So I went back to find my pictures, and what I found was this 10-second video that showed it was essentially dark and some people talking in the background for 10 seconds about seeing something. Then I did the metadata on it and everything came out. Uh, it was, it was the creation date. Everything came out as September 27th um, on that time frame. And the actual time would have been when I say that, I'll go back up. When it says here that it was at 22:12, that was the actual time because the video was actually taken in Britain. So that was in there. So that 22:12 was it was the actual UTC time, but at that time in 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 California it would have been 3:12 in the afternoon on
Hmm.
the 27th.
Does everyone remember the Britt, Iowa case, by the way?
Nobody's gonna say anything.
Did you want to go over that, Dave?
No, I was just going to make a comment about it.
Okay. No,
That
go on.
case has kind of been that case has been beaten to death. So, yeah, this was a case in Britt, Iowa. This case was nominated by MUFON as one of the top cases of 2015. It involved 7 witnesses and 14 triangular objects. So it was a pretty solid case, but I don't know if I have the case number here or not, but you can look at that. I can fetch that if you want in a few minutes and put it on the chat.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and Dave's recently, like he said, he's done a podcast on it. We discussed it at our Iowa in-person meeting this month uh, and stuff. So yeah, we've talked about it quite a bit. All right. Do you, Before I get into see what I got here. Yeah. Do you want me to try to find some other stuff that we could show, or do you have stuff that you want to show, Kyle?
If you want to bring up something else, or if anybody else wants to link something, we could look at in chat.
Yeah, I got I can go back and maybe find uh something else here. Let's do oops. might have to bring this up as a
Look, I might have that case number. Looks like 71566.
yeah, 71566. Yeah, yeah, that sounds right for the
It was one of the
that's
one-page summaries I wrote up. Or no, I didn't write up. You guys wrote up.
right. Yeah, it's 71566. Yeah. Um, this is let me go down to let me stop the share here for a second and then bring up the
Yeah, if anybody has anything else they want to look at, throw it in chat or you can
oops.
unmute and say something. We could look it up real quick.
Okay. Dang, get stuff. Too many things opening up on in the window here. Let's try this share again. Am I share? What do you see now? Am I sharing the?
There's nothing being shared right now.
Yeah, yeah, because I don't have that. I can't get back to that share window. Well, son of a gun.
Um, are you on the main Zoom window? Is that showing up?
Oh wait, here. Wait a minute. There we go. Let's go. Share sound. Let's go down here and do this.
All right, yep, seeing a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask, did that lady ever come in? She was gonna bring like a medal or something.
Um, no.
This was back in like
She
spring.
she did not. Are you which case are you talking about now?
I think
The
she
one
it was an abduction case, but I remember she had a medal and she showed it on Zoom, and we were talking about doing a scratch test to see, what kind of metal, how hard it
oh
is and
yeah.
figure out. And she was gonna
She
bring it
she
into an
lost
Iowa meeting. Yeah.
yeah, she lost it. She lost it, so she didn't bring it in. Yeah,
Wow.
she couldn't find it.
Crazy how that stuff happens. Greg still got his big lake medal, right?
Yes, still got it.
Okay, good.
There for a while I had misplaced it.
Yeah.
When I moved from I moved and I had misplaced it. I want to go back through here and find the okay. Oops, yeah. Here's just a video.
At Wayfair, we bring style to every get-together. They brought
Wonderful ad.
wings.
You mean these wingback chairs? Dive in, everyone.
What does the government really know about aliens and UFOs? And what's the truth about all those drone sightings over New Jersey last year? Remember that? Well, the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, just told the Pod Force One podcast that the truth may be out there. Take a look.
So do you believe that there could be aliens?
I honestly, like, my personal belief, I have my own views and opinions.
Right.
In this role, I got to be careful with what I share. I'm still going through and looking through what do we know and what is it that we don't know.
And the New Jersey, the strange objects over New Jersey were drones.
I still have a lot of questions around that.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard what the public official line is. I just personally still have a lot of questions that are unanswered.
I think we all have a lot of questions. Remember, in January, the White House said there was nothing nefarious about the New Jersey drone sighting. So here's the question. What's the truth? Well, we're going to ask former Pentagon UFO investigator Lou Elizondo to get to it. So, Lou, good to see you. What does Tulsi Gabbard know that we all don't know?
Well, I think it's important to note that Tulsi Gabbard is a very seasoned official. She cut her teeth as a combat veteran and also formerly a field grade officer. So she's not new to the world of intelligence. And I think what she's doing is exactly her due diligence. Before she makes a public statement, she wants to make sure she speaks to all of the 16 intelligence agencies, try to remove all the stovepipes as she can, and really get to the truth of the matter. The bottom line is, look, whenever you admit to the American public that we don't have complete aerodomain awareness of our skies, we don't know what's in our skies all the time, you're also tipping your hand to your adversaries that we have vulnerability. So it's really a catch-22. Tulsi is in a really difficult spot because on one hand, she does have these outstanding questions like the New Jersey drone issue. We now know there was not prosaic explanations for what occurred with every one of those quote-unquote drone sightings. But at the same time, look, you've got 16 intelligence agencies that somehow it's like herding cats. You have to try to get all of them to report information to you. Yeah. And it's one heck of a bureaucracy. It really is.
You mentioned something about the danger of drones, and I hate to say this, another 9/11 style attack. I mean, can you explain to us how we prevent something like this? It's much different warfare than we've ever seen before.
Look, I'm really glad you're saying that. I think the American people would be shocked to learn that in modern warfare now, and you take the Ukraine, there have been more deaths attributed in combat to drones than artillery and infantry combined. Now think about that, right? So we are entering a completely new paradigm on how warfare is conducted. And it's really not much of a stretch to imagine some sort of foreign adversary or someone who wants to do harm to the United States or our national security, rather than using 737s, instead using much cheaper, much more affordable, and much easier to hide drones. They are already being used by drug cartels on our borders for surveillance and for smuggling drugs, and they're also being used right now in combat to kill other human beings. So I think that's a great question, and I think this is why our nation really needs a comprehensive strategy and frankly, maybe even a national intelligence estimate done every year by the DNI, by Tulsi's people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. It's definitely a reality that we have to be talking about. Before I let you go, I got to ask you, got former Pentagon scientist Eric Davis said there are 4 types of alien species. There are grays, Nordics, insectoids, and reptilians. I never thought I'd be saying that this morning. Should we be taking anything of this as credible?
I was a nuts and bolts guy. Unfortunately, I can't comment on biologics, but I was more of a nuts and bolts guy.
Okay, fair enough. The conversation for another day. Lou Elizondo, thanks so much. Good seeing you.
I took control, went solo.
Insectoids.
Yeah.
Then recently, they're kind of speculating that the Tic Tacs are actually Lockheed's. I don't know if anybody had heard any of that at all. So, and then J.D. Vance, during the break, he said that he was going to look into UFOs, investigate Area 51 during the Senate break while they were off. Well, they've been back, but I haven't heard anything at all from J.D. Vance on whether anything that he has looked into. So unless somebody else had, just everybody jump in if whatever.
Sounds pretty typical, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll look at it. Yeah, just give me a couple weeks, and then you hear nothing.
Yeah. So maybe he did find out something, and now he's afraid to.
Now he can't speak.
Yeah, and now he can't speak. We'll tell you have to sign an NDA. And there's another video here we can watch here. It's kind of interesting. I got to get rid of these commercials somehow.
Join ICE with bonuses up to $50,000 and generous benefits. Join.ice.gov.
that has been always one of my biggest fascinations, because if these things are sighted all around our nuclear sites on land, what the hell are they doing with the submarines underwater that are loaded to the gills with nukes and are all throughout the oceans?
Yeah.
So like, if I'm one of these guys who spends months on a nuclear submarine in the ocean, I'm sure these guys have to have some incredible stories. Some of them do, but I've never heard one. I've never heard one story.
There's a reason for that. So first off, it's interesting. Let's just look at the data. A lot of these events have happened around nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, right? Theodore Roosevelt, Nimitz.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of activity there. And I have had one report from an officer who was on a boomer, some ballistic missile submarine in the North Atlantic, who observed a contact. I've shared this before, but really quickly. It had the characteristics of basically a Russian torpedo in terms of closing fast and at a high rate of speed and coming at the submarine.
Right.
And so in an area they wouldn't have expected it. So they did all the procedures to avoid it. They turned around, they dove deep to nearly crush depth. And when the object got close to them, it stopped. And it kind of went around to their stern and followed them for a while and then rapidly exited the area. And he's not sure what to make of that, but there shouldn't have been anything there because it was in the North Atlantic during a 40-foot seas.
Right.
And so that's when there's high ambient noise. And
wow.
Nothing could detect them. Those subs are quiet. And when there's really high ambient noise, they're undetectable. So that couldn't have been a Russian torpedo or high-speed submersible that hadn't even been built yet. So there's nothing he could explain it. So, but I've not heard a lot of other reports from submariners because that is such a classified area because it's nuclear security and it's undersea security. And those are the most highly classified programs in the government. And so I've not been able to crack into them. I was tangentially read into some of that, but and so I know about that, but nothing regarding UAP. But if anything about UAP in the water that data resides anywhere, it's in those programs, and they are locked tight.
Yeah, there's this guy who Jesse also interviewed, Harold Malmgren.
Yeah.
Who said to him, the Office of Naval Intelligence has more data on this stuff than anybody.
Well, right. And he referred to I believe the National...
More than the Air Force.
Yeah. National Underwater Reconnaissance Office. Yes. So that's it. I know about them. But again, I've not been able to see that information. He's very credible, and his daughter also served, I think, in the Bush administration and the Reagan administration. Right. And her name is Pippa, and she's terrific too. He was right on. In fact, that's interesting. I've been working on this whole topic of the nuke detonations that brought down some UFOs. And that's what Harold had also talked about.
Right, yes.
And there's a lot of data there too.
So like also a weird thing about being one of those guys on the submarines is like you can't really see it.
No,
you're relying on radar, or how does that work? Well, what other kinds of tools do they have?
Sonar.
So how accurate can you get with something? Like how much can you find out about an object that's around a submarine, but with just the tools that they have available to them?
It's difficult, and you don't want to go active. So active is how you can really characterize how large it is and potentially even its shape, but that's going to reveal your locations. That's something submarines generally don't do.
Going active.
Using active sonar, meaning pinging, sending out a transducer.
So they're making their location available to other subs.
Right. Now you can use that. I did my PhD work on this. You can use an active sonar signal, bounce it off an object, and it comes back, and you can use that just like radar. Same principle, but with sound instead of EM energy, to characterize an object, its shape, if it's moving, if it's in its structure, and we have high frequency sonars that do this really well. In fact, we use them to map the seafloor and characterize shipwrecks. NOAA does great work, but again, submarines generally don't want to do that because that reveals their location. So they normally are staying passive, and it's very difficult to characterize an object passive because of you're only hearing the sound they emit, which is either from engineering or flow noise around the hull of the vessel or vehicle.
That incident you were just explaining to me where they thought it was a Russian torpedo, did they go active there?
No, no.
Whoa.
So they were just listening, and they dived in.
They dove super deep though.
Yeah,
and they thought they were getting
dangerously
chased.
so. They were convinced they were going to get hit. They were doing all the things to prepare for getting hit and doing the damage control necessary. Yeah, because they'd never seen anything like this, and they had trained for Russian torpedo attacks. This was everything like it. So he called me up after I went public on this information because he said, I just got to tell you about this experience.
Wow.
So we stay in touch. There was another one I think I shared about it also, where someone has called me up and said, hey, I was one of these acoustic intelligence specialists, and we were on one of these ships that does this. They look for enemy submarines by doing two things. They send out it's a high energy active pulse, and then they listen in low frequency. It's low frequency active, they call it. So high energy, low frequency pulse, long range, and it'll always get a bounce off a submarine, and that's how you find them. And then what you do is you listen passively to characterize the type of contact. So every type of adversary platform, whether it be a Russian submarine or a Chinese submarine, we know their signature. We know how, and it's by the hull, the actual hull number. We know they sound like the screws, the engineering equipment, the flow noise.
Wow,
it's pretty good. It's kind of like your fingerprints acoustically. That's some of the most classified information out there. Because we can't, if we reveal that, we reveal our sources, the people who found this information, and that would get them killed. But that's how we in the field know, that's the Russian whatever. And so that's what we've done. The whole Cold War was built on that. Some of Blind Man's Bluff is about that.
Oh,
but ultimately, this guy shared with me that he was out there in Japan in the, I forgot, the 2000s, and they found twice a really loud hit when they went active, and they switched on to passive. And this is what they do. Every time they'll get a passive hit, and they know, okay, it was either exercise they did on one of our subs, or they're out there listening for Chinese. It's one of theirs. And they had nothing. There's no passive hit. But they had a super loud active hit. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
It means there was something big in the water moving, because it wasn't there later, and it had no engineering components making noise. What the fuck is that?
And then it was gone.
It was in the water column. So whales don't do this, by the way. They're soft. They don't reflect sound pulses at that kind of amplitude or that source level. So it's again, these are people who had anomalous observations and experiences, and after I testified, they just wanted to call me and say, hey, I saw this. And in fact, non-underwater, but very cool. After my last testimony, probably one of the neatest encounters or eyewitness encounters I had was this. I went and gave a talk. I always say yes to any university who wants me to talk about this topic, because that's how we're gonna turn the tide. It's the next generation who are not so stigmatized about this. So any university I went to Yale. They have a UFO society, and I give a talk, and this guy comes down, he's getting his graduate degree, and he goes, hey, I want to tell you a story. Okay. He said, I was a Navy air crew on a SH-60 Seahawk helicopter flying off the Dwight D. Eisenhower in 2021. And he said, a lot of the guys had filmed on forward-looking infrared UAP. In fact, they had a folder on their secret drive, and they called it range foulers. And this is a funny term, because so the term in the Navy for anything not right, like a fouled anchor, then you use that for everything. Okay, right. foul the range, right? Like a fouled anchor. And what's fouling the range? UFOs. So they had this whole file on all these UFO videos they had taken, and they kind of used that name as a sort of joke, but ultimately they were keeping track of the stuff. And so everybody knew about it, but no one talked about it in the ready room. The skipper said, hey, we're not. We all know it exists. We're just going to live with it. No one really is asking us to report it. And so, but then there was a point in 2021 where the Joint Chiefs, based on pressure from Congress, directed everyone to start reporting. So that's what they started doing, collecting the videos, sharing them with the intelligence officer, with DIA. And he said one night there was going to be a drill to do a man overboard, and that's where they normally, off a helicopter carrier, you don't launch a boat. You launch a helicopter. It's a lot safer and easier. It's hard to launch.
Really?
Yeah. You don't launch a boat off a helicopter, because the flight deck is something like 60 feet off the water line. So that's the MO. You launch a helicopter to recover the man overboard.
Okay.
So this was his job. He was a crew chief, and he thought there was going to be an exercise. Well, he got woken up one night, and they didn't say it was an exercise. So he thought, oh my God, it's a real world event. What had happened is he's waiting to get the plane ready, and one of the pilots had some NVGs, and he asked him, what's going on? He goes, put these on. Look up there.
Night vision goggles?
Yeah, night vision goggles. Look up there. And he saw flying over the character, really just slowly moving laterally, a metallic sphere about the size of a smart car. Just moving slowly, like the Mosul orb, like that, but at night. And everyone was tracking it. Basically, it was in the middle of the strike group, and everybody was basically saying, what the heck is that? So they launched the helo to get video of it. And his crew chief is taking video of this thing, and it's just moving slowly. There's no signs of propulsion or flight control surfaces. It's just a sphere. And then after a time, it did what all these UFOs do. It just accelerated instantaneously and went over the horizon.
Wow.
And he said, not only did that happen a lot, he said that the guys in this other squadron that embarked on the Gerald Ford, the other carrier that deployed after them, happened all the time too. So the Navy is sitting on a trove of UFO data, videos, just as you said ONI is. I mean, these are all sources coming to me saying it's all there and it's all real.
Oh.
Yeah.
What was interesting about that stuff is about the Navy having all that information, and you go back to like when Gary McKinnon, that hacker from Britain, found all those lists of ships that weren't real ships, but probably UFOs. It was all Navy designated, and I think the Navy definitely has a lot more information on this than the Air Force does. I think things are just part of the secret space program. So then, any comments on that video? Then, no. Well, I got some stuff on 3i Atlas. It's kind of interesting.
And on Slice Soda.
Join ICE with bonuses up to $50,000 and generous benefits. Join.ice.gov.
What if an interstellar object whirling through our solar system is actually a nuclear-powered spacecraft sent by aliens to test how humans respond? That's what a noted astrophysicist believes might be the case, and he says an image from the Hubble telescope backs him up. Most scientists agree that the so-called 3I Atlas is a comet from another solar system. But Harvard scientist Avi Loeb claimed on this show a couple of weeks ago that it could actually be some type of alien technology. Now, that's a controversial opinion all on its own. But he's now going a step further, arguing that the 3I Atlas could be a nuclear-powered alien spacecraft. Loeb says the Hubble picture appears to show the object emitting its own light. The object also appears to lack something that all comets have in common, and that's a tail. So what is this thing exactly? Well, joining us now is Avi Loeb. He's the head of the Galileo Project, director of Harvard University's Institute for Theory and Computation. He's also the best-selling author of the book Extraterrestrial. Great to have you back on the show. So you now say this is not only an alien spaceship, but it's nuclear powered? Why are you saying that?
Well, thanks for having me. First, I should say that if the light that we observe from this object is reflection of sunlight, its size needs to be bigger than Manhattan Island, 20 kilometers or so. And there isn't enough rocky material in interstellar space to deliver a rock of that size earlier than 10,000 years from now. So the question is, what is it? And its orbit, the trajectory that it takes, is aligned with the plane of the planets around the sun to within 5 degrees. That's a chance of 1 in 500. And moreover, the timing
What does that tell you? What does that trajectory tell you?
Well, it indicates that perhaps it was designed by some intelligence.
That something's steering it.
Not necessarily, but the trajectory itself was chosen to be such that this object will pass close to Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. The chance of that happening, the timing of its arrival is perfect for that, with a likelihood of 1 in 20,000. And so I'm just saying we should observe it. It doesn't look like it's a random occurrence. The size, the trajectory, the fact that it comes so close to 3 planets in our solar system, and actually it comes closest to the sun on October 29th, when the Earth would be on the other side of the sun. We won't be able to observe it. I'm analyzing right now the best image we have of it. We don't have any evidence for gas around it in the spectrum that was taken, but we do see some fuzz, some halo of scattered light around it in front of it.
We're looking at the image now. What does that tell you, that halo of light around it?
Right. So usually for comets, you see a cometary tail trailing the objects from behind because it's being pushed by the radiation from the sun. The dust particles are pushed to be behind, to lag behind the object. In this case, what we are seeing is a glow in front of the object. And I'm analyzing first if this is caused by dust. The amount of dust is very little. Over 6 months, the amount of dust that will be ablated from the object to generate this glow is just less than 1 millimeter thick. So it could be just dirt on a solid surface of such an object. And the question is, what is the nature of this object? Of course, as it gets closer to the sun, we would get a better view of it. And we could use spacecraft like Juno next to Jupiter. I spoke about it with Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. She called me on the phone, and I gave her an update about the object, and she encouraged in a formal letter she wrote to the head of NASA, Sean Duffy, the Secretary of Transportation, to encouraging NASA to use Juno, which is next to Jupiter, to come close to 3I Atlas when it will get there on March 16th, 2026.
So Juno could gather some data, take some pictures of this thing?
Yes, but also a camera that is next to Mars, because this object will come very close to Mars as well on October 3rd, 2025, and it will be within a distance of 29 million kilometers from Mars. And there is a 0.5 meter camera that is currently used to watch Mars itself, but I encourage the team that operates it to look at 3I Atlas, and they can get a pixel resolution of 30 kilometers around this object, so we can get a better sense of what the nucleus of this object is.
And super quick, Avi, is there any reason to be concerned about this?
Yeah, you never know what kind of intent it has, and I think we should, in the future, have some international organization that decides how to respond to a visitor to our backyard, because that visitor may enter through the front door.
Avi Loeb, fascinating.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below.
Yeah, this objects, the 3I, it seems like every day there's a different video about it and something else that's going on with it. It's supposedly made up of a lot of CO2 and the fact that it had a kind of a trail in front, and it's got a little bit of a trail now as far as a tail. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're thinking now that there's a small possibility, especially if it's something of that's not natural, that it might actually collide with Mars.
I mean, if it's anything like the UFOs that we've seen here on Earth, though, it's like they're showing super advanced movement technology. I feel like like a meteor going through the, it's going slow, it's visible, it doesn't look super impressive. I mean, there seems to be unknown characteristics about it that, if it does move, maybe there's something to look at. But I mean, compared to the stuff that we've already seen on Earth, it's like not showing what I would suspect to be alien technology,
Right.
You're going between solar systems, you're going to be going super fast. You're not going to be tracking an object because it's going to be here and it's going to be gone, And I don't think
it's going super fast.
Well, like, I mean, like
Yeah.
faster than light, you know, like
Oh,
super fast is relative, I guess. But yeah, to like go to the next, solar system is what, 4 light years? So you got to be going faster than the speed of light to get there in less than 4 years. This object would get there in thousands, of years. So yeah, when I think
Yeah.
alien stuff, it doesn't fit my characteristics.
Yeah, it's going like 137,000 miles per hour.
Yeah, pretty slow.
Yeah. But it is 12 miles uh it, as far as the length and stuff on it's concerned. And the 3I means third interstellar object. If I don't know if they mentioned that or not.
Huh.
Oumuamua was the first one, and then there was another one in between, and then now this 3I Atlas.
Feel like there would be more interstellar objects. There are really only three.
So far that
yeah,
they've identified.
I agree with that because, there's stars exploding all the time. You would think there would be a lot more stuff coming into our solar system. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure
Yeah.
tracking's difficult though.
Right. You're talking about the speed. The speed of the object being 137,000 miles per hour. It's hard to account for what would have happened in interstellar space that would that would launch this thing at that speed and stuff. So,
Well, it
that's
wasn't going that fast originally, probably.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
pick
know.
up pick up speeds through gravity wells and stuff like that, like most objects, as
Yeah.
long as it doesn't get sucked into like Jupiter, right? It should pick up more speed
yeah,
going by Jupiter and then picking up more speed going by, our sun. But I mean, it'd be cool to understand, like what's exactly. I don't know if they know what it's made out of or anything, but like where it came from, or that'd be.
Well, they're finding that the metal is nickel. And in nature, you never find nickel without iron. That's, but this has no iron with it, which is really, really odd.
yeah. All right. Somebody had a question about the secret space program. I'm going to say I don't know. Right off the top of my head here, I don't have a lot of information. If that's something that that you'd want it, say next month's meeting or something like that, um, maybe we could put some stuff together.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
interesting.
just let us know. I do know that there was one of the MUFON symposiums had some interesting. It was based on the secret space program. The whole thing was. And that had um, one of the weirdest things have ever saw Andrew Bisagio talking about a Mars jump room, and it included things like uh, Barack Obama and stuff like that. It was like going down the rabbit hole. That was kind of interesting. Maybe that's something that we could present next month.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a secret space program, you don't know anything because it's secret.
Right. And there's been a lot of stuff come and gone on that as far as, and some people debunking what some people have said about, the secret space program. And you got, yeah. So let's go on and see oh, yeah. There's that Britt, Iowa case, at least the slide.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, if you want to see that whole video, I highlight 3 cases, and it's in Margie Kay's her latest podcast. I talk about 3 extraordinary cases in Iowa, and one of them was Brett.
Is that on YouTube?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You got a link?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could just search it. Maybe it'll come up if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
So let me go back to the stop the share and go back to the, let me let's see. Have you been keeping track of the chat?
It's Mark again. Said 20 and back. Is this silly or not?
Okay. The 20 and back, yeah, the 20 and back part, we can talk about that too, as part of the secret space program. I don't know, to me, it's kind of weird. You know, I don't know. It's essentially that they took them back 20 years, and or they the people that were recruited into the secret space program worked for 20 years for the secret space program, and then they took them back to the point in which they started the secret space program so they could live their life from that point on. So it was kind of like a time travel involved and stuff like that. So, yeah. Let me go back to sharing the.
Oh, was the video talking about the one with, I think that's Margie, the MUFON Central one?
Yeah, MUFON Central.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. I think.
Put that in the share or in the deal.
Throw it on our Facebook too somewhere.
Let's see what we got here. I did the observables. Or did I do the observables last month in the Nebraska meeting?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it was at the end. We kind of went
Yeah,
through it
yeah. All
fast.
right. All right. Oh, that's not the right one. That's huh. That's not the right one here.
Do you guys hear anything about the Roswell footage that was uploaded recently? 2 days ago.
No.
This is a nearly 22-minute video titled "The Roswell Incident Has Been Quietly," you gotta put that in there, uploaded to the National Archives, reigniting interest in the infamous 1947 crash. Footage combines still motion images and motion control camera shots sourced from the published Roswell report. I was looking for that. It's hard. These UFO sites, if you ever go to them, it's so hard to track down any of the sources. Nobody links to it. No, oh yeah, we'll talk about it for like a minute and whatever, but it's so hard to find. Just give me a link to the National Archives, you know, how hard is that? I don't know if they have anything new on there, but I could show that after whatever this is.
Well, this is just, I was just going to get back into the closing part and talk, so you can share whatever you want, then I'll go back to this. All right?
Okay.
Yeah, one thing, I just put up the link to Margie's podcast. It's in the chat.
Well, what I put up a post to. Those are different videos or what those are. Oh, well, we have two of them. What are you guys' take on Roswell? Dave's quiet. I guess it's you, Greg.
My take is that something happened.
Let's see.
What? I don't know.
All right, you guys see this?
Yes.
I don't know if we want to watch the whole thing.
Go to the discount house.
That works. That's $25 I was gonna kind of skim through it here. Yeah, they're mainly just showing these photos, I think, are at the end of it.
First it was just these books and this thing here. Now it's this and this and this, and you just keep dreaming. This is just like the spaceship shit, ain't it? Every day they bring something more. They just need to tell the truth. And you're gonna be going through all this shit.
You know, I see a huge. Is there going on the left?
Where?
Are these old footages or? Maybe I can make it bigger. That guy, he gets all the answers. Yeah, this was one that a lot of people were showing.
Is this supposed to be something that was supposedly what was actually at Roswell and that
Um, I don't know. I just saw it was released recently, and there's some places, some news articles coming out about it.
Hmm.
We can look at the description after this real quick. But yeah, I don't know what any of this stuff is really. Like, what is that thing?
Now I did see this picture. That's supposedly where the crash site was.
Yeah. Have you seen this one?
Yeah, I've seen both these pictures. I don't know.
Okay, maybe it's not new.
Well, I just recently saw them, so it might have been part of this video. I don't remember watching the whole video. Yeah.
I don't really give a lot of detail on this. Video cassette. Oh, I don't know. I tracked that down. And another thing, if you want to not have ads, if you use the Brave browser, they stop a lot of ads on like YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got. That's what I was looking at. Anybody else got anything?
I'll go back to share the Control F5. You can see that now?
Yep.
This is the latest MUFON journal. I haven't gotten my copy in the mail, but I got it electronically. And there's a case in there that's called the Lilanial however you say that, recovery, new information on this 40-year-old mystery. It's also kind of known as the British Roswell. And we've talked about this in our meetings in the past, and when we used to meet over at the university at Aberystwyth and Wells and stuff. We talked about a crash that happened, and there's quite a long article, which again, that's something that I can summarize or whatever for next month's meeting if need be. So yeah, just don't be hesitant in sending in suggestions for things that you might want to know about, so that we can make this as interactive as possible as far as our meetings are concerned. Anyway, that's this September journal and upcoming events. Well, looks like the next Nebraska meeting will be the 18th of October.
Yep.
The next Iowa meeting is November 22nd from 11 to 1 at West Des Moines Library. And that's all I have. Kyle, you have anything else?
No. Yeah, thanks for coming on the Zoom meeting. They just called me up one day and like this last week, and we're just like, oh yeah, the campus is gonna be closed Saturday. They're gonna be doing all the power is gonna be gone. So they're going through cycling out the power in all the buildings, and they're like, yeah, they decided to cancel our meeting for us. So I was like, well, I don't know, I guess I'll just do Zoom only. But yeah, so and then yeah, next meeting's already reserved, so we should be good on that one, unless they, keep shut the water off one time, and then there's other times we don't have any internet, and then this time there's no power out there. A little bit of chaos, but yep, next meeting should be good. Yeah, maybe we could do some stuff on secret space program. If people find anything, you can post it on the Facebook or email me. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right.
All right, I'll wrap it up here.